Greetings. I am the Reverend Jennifer Beal, and I'm speaking to you from my home in Concord, Massachusetts. I'm speaking for two Episcopal churches, for All Saints in West Newbury and for St. James in Amesbury. My sermon and hymn are the middle portion of today's service of morning prayer for the fourth Sunday in Lent, as found on the Facebook pages of these two churches. Welcome to about 10 minutes that we will spend together. When I was in elementary school, our music teacher was blind. Mr. Sorella had been born blind. He had been born gifted with music, composing, teaching, and playing the organ. I learned that music scores that come in Braille are huge. He was one of the first blind teachers hired by the Massachusetts public schools. Whether classrooms of 20 or choruses of 100 wiggly 10-year-olds, he taught us more than just music. He taught me that I could listen and see with my quiet self. He taught me that I could listen and see with my quiet self. In the Episcopal service of morning prayer, there are customarily 3 readings from the Bible plus a psalm. But we also have 2 canticles that are responses to the readings. I will hold up the list of the readings in case you haven't seen them while I keep talking. In other words, we have heard today lots of readings, lots of possibilities for fruitful reflection, and been offered lots of opportunities to make choices. Isn't that one of our big tasks now in this time of coronavirus pandemic? When in the midst of change, of transition, of the feeling of chaos, now is the time to use all the skills we have learned through our lifetime. Now is the time to use the spiritual disciplines of all that is good and right and true. We can practice moderation, do acts of kindness, find a moment that makes you peaceful. Run a race that is set before you, for we have all won contests in the past. We have all done whatever it took to work towards something we wanted. We can do so now, too. Each of our readings adds weight to this hope. The 23rd Psalm offers us language and images that reach into every situation in life. Find the phrase that comforts you the most in these days. Remember it, maybe even memorize it. As much as the prophet Samuel groaned and complained about God making him do something yet again, in the end, he wound up with King David, who was quite flawed, but loved with a genuine heart. The response canticle, number 14, the prayer of Manasseh, comes from the Apocrypha. According to Marion Hatchett, supposedly this is the prayer of repentance referred to in 2 Chronicles 33. The king had committed cruelty, but then sought humility. While his change of heart may look convenient, God took it as true. The changed person understood that God was able to see and to help. The faithful believers in Ephesus were encouraged to find out what is the fruit of light. How do you imagine that question? What is the fruit of light? Well, for me, they're things that calm me, that connect me, that assure me. What is your fruit of light? The next canticle, 16, finds Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, at his own son's ceremony of circumcision. Here, his discipline of temporary muteness has been released, and he proclaims with exuberance the words about remembering old promises in the tender compassion of God. The dawn will shine again, especially on darkness and the shadow of death. These ancient words have resounded in human hearts before. Before moving on, I will string together one phrase from each reading. You can try this too. It forms a cool mantra. Language and images, flawed but loved, to see and to help, the fruit of light will shine again. And last, all the readings arrive at the climax. The story of the man born blind is found in John chapter 9. This is a story about challenging conditions. It's about having something one cannot control. It brings up point of origin and culpability. But to Jesus, God's Son, the only interest was in healing the man. Jesus made some mud, put it on his eyes, and told him to go wash in the pool at the end of the ancient aqueduct, bringing water into the city of Jerusalem. Connect him to the sources. Bring him back into community. Well, some folks didn't like that. Grumbling is to be expected, especially among those who don't want to do the work of healing, the work of trusting. However, the newly sighted man named their hypocrisy. He asked if it was possible for a miracle to come from someone who was not good. And that got their dander up. Are you trying to teach us? So those authorities drove him out. But Jesus went to find him and brought him back into communal life. When the authorities heard this, they grumbled some more. But Jesus responded to them, "If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin. But now you are saying we can see, so your guilt remains." To one who is blind, the difference between the day and the night must be all internal. My early music teacher taught me to listen and see with my quiet self, to enter his blindness so that I could see. I think Jesus might have agreed with Helen Keller, who kept hope alive in her darkness. She was often asked this question: do you desire your sight more than anything else in the world? No, she said. No, I would rather walk with a friend in darkness than walk alone in the light. She kept hope alive in the darkness. So can we. And now I'd like to sing 2 verses of a hymn by a 20th century American organist and hymn writer, Kathleen Thomerson. I want to walk as a child of the light. You can find it in the hymnal, number 490. I want to walk as a child of the light, number 490. My husband, Julian Cole, has agreed to play the bass recorder with me. Thank you, Julian. I want to walk as a child of the light. I want to follow Jesus. God set the stars to give light to the way. The star of my life is Jesus. In him there is no life for the living. The night and the day are both alike. The Lamb is the light of the city of God. Shine in my heart, Lord Jesus. I want to see the brightness of God. I want to look at Jesus. Clear sun of righteousness, shine on my path. We shall know the joy of Jesus. In him there is no darkness at all. The night and the day are both alike. The Lamb is the light of the city of God.